Welcome back. In this lesson, we're going to continue our conversation about taking roots. However, this time we're going to be taking roots of numbers that don't make perfect roots. So numbers that don't make nice roots for us. Now, this is something you should have touched on in Expo and actually first semester Algebra 2. But let's take a chance to review how to use this powers chart to find these things. So the first thing you want to do, you still need to use the index to find the correct column of the table to use. So if we're looking at that square root of 45, remember there's a hidden 2 out there. So that means I'm going to be looking at the second column. All right, you always use that to find the column that you're looking for. Now, if you'll notice, 45 isn't actually on my list here. Okay, so that can kind of cause a dilemma. Because if the number isn't on the list, you may be confused on, well, how can I take the root of it? Well, what you want to do is you want to find what number on the list actually divides that number. Now, this one I think is pretty obvious. However, sometimes it'll get more difficult, so I'll show you how to use a calculator to help you. So when I say find the number that divides it, so what I'm saying is look at that 4. So I'm going to see, is 45 divisible by 4? And the answer is no, it's not. That didn't come out to be a whole number, therefore that's not the number that we're looking for. Well, the next number on my list was a 9. So I'm going to take 45 divided by 9. Oh, bingo! 45 is 9 times 5. So 9 was the magic number that we're looking for. Well, once I recognize that 9 is the number that I'm looking for, I'm actually going to split this up into 9 times 5. And the reason I'm doing that is because I know what the square root of 9 is. I know that the square root of 9 is 3 according to that chart, so I can just call this 3 square roots of 5. So that's how we're going to simplify things that are not a perfect root. The perfect piece of it will come out, but then a piece will still be stuck inside the radical. So let's try this with a cubed root. So we're going to look at the cube root of 250. So I'm going to transition. Since I'm talking about a cube root, that means I'm in this column now. And again, if it's not obvious to you what number divides at 250, you can use your calculator to start scanning down that list. So starting with the 8, you can ask yourself, 250, is it divisible by 8? No. Transition to the 27. Is it divisible by 27? No. Is it divisible by that 64? No. Is it divisible by the 125? Oh, bingo, there we go. I got my whole number, so 125 and 2 are the numbers that I'm looking for. And again, if you see it right away, don't feel the need to go and use your calculator that way. That's just if you're struggling seeing which one it is. I'm saying you can do that. So I'm going to split out that cube root into the 125 and to the 2. And the reason that I'm doing that is because the 125, if you look back up at our chart, the 125 just turns into 5. So this will just be a 5, but then I still have the cube root of 2 that can't come out. It's stuck inside. Let's try one more example to make sure that we're getting good at splitting these up. So this time we're talking about a fourth root. So I'm going to come up here and make sure I'm focusing on the correct column. So fourth root. And again, notice 32 is not actually on that list. So what I started hunting for are numbers that divide 32. So let's start. 32, and that first one is 16. So 32 divided by 16, bingo, right away, we found it. We found a number that works. 16 times 2. So I'm going to split that up into the fourth root of 16 times the fourth root of 2. And let's take a look. What happens to that 16? What does that 16 become? Well, that 16 becomes 2. So what this ends up doing is that fourth row to 16 becomes 2. I still have a 2 stuck in the fourth root, and I can just leave it like that. So again, this is a strategy for when you can't find the number in the table. You search for what number you can divide out of it that is in that table. So once again, please make sure you have all this written down and come and see me if you have any questions or need some help.